I want to try to frame this in terms of 5 questions that I think need to be addressed to think about scaling in a useful way. First is, what is the problem? Now, that sounds sort of, what is the problem? What I'm really saying is the problem, whatever it might be, individuals? Is it individuals, individual behavior? Is that what's involved? Is it communal? Does it exist at a communal level? Is it organizational? Is the way organizations are behaving? Is it institutional? Is it systemic? Now, the first thing I want to suggest is that our assumptions about the nature of the problem we're trying to tackle along those parameters have everything to do with how we think about the question of scale. Because if I'm setting out to solve a problem in a neighborhood and that's it, that's one thing. But if I say, I am dealing with poverty in Canada and I'm going to solve it in this neighborhood, have some coffee. Drink some coffee. You're not going to solve it in one neighborhood. It's not going to happen. You might solve a problem in that neighborhood, but the question of how it's going to link to solving the problem of poverty in Canada, you can't dodge that question. I don't think you can dodge the question. And I think too often we do. So I think being clear about what the nature, what is the level of the problem we're actually trying to solve here. We're actually trying to solve. And it's not to say that trying to solve a problem in one neighborhood is a bad thing, it's a good thing. But let's not pretend that it's going to transform the system. It's not. Okay? Now, it might contribute to that. The question is, then how could it contribute to changing the system if that's really what I'm interested in? And what I want to suggest is that unless you're thinking that way about it, you won't get there. You'll get stuck not stuck, people in the neighborhood will benefit. And then you'll say, boy, I wish we could scale up. Well, it wasn't planned that way. It's not how you built it. It wasn't what you had in mind. At least that's what I want to suggest. Whose problem is it? Who are the change agents? Who cares? Who cares? Who really wants to make it happen? Is it you? You have an entrepreneurial, innovative insight, and you're the one that's going to solve it? Do other people care? Because it takes people to create change. Where are they going to come from? Why would they be part of this? Who are they? And another question is, who's not going to like it? You know? Now, by what kind of a problem is it? And here's what I'm thinking about. Is this a problem of we don't have the right tools and so we need to invent the tools? Is it a problem that people don't have the right skills, they need to learn and develop the skills? Is it both kinds of problem? Is it both a tool problem and a skill problem? Is it a knowledge problem at all? Is it a problem that, gee, we just don't know how to solve it? And so we need lots of experimentation, innovation in order to figure out how to solve it? Like developing new technologies, new medicines? Or is it a power problem? Do we know what it would take to create schools of equal quality across the country? But we can't make it happen because there's a lot of people who don't want to make that happen, because it'll cost a lot of money. Somebody's going to have to pay for it. How are we going to get people to pay for it? Being clear about what's the dynamic there we're trying to address and what kind of problem it is in that sense seems critically important. And then what's the theory of change? How, and by that I mean something quite specific, how am I going to get, as Henry put it, from here to there? Now, if my there is one school in one neighborhood to be the greatest school ever, that's one thing. But if my there is to transform the system of education in a province, then how am I going to get there? You got to have a theory about that. What's the mechanism, specifically? How's it going to work? In the market economy, there's the market, right? Isn't that the theory of entrepreneurial capitalism? You develop a new way of doing something, and it's more efficient, and so it generates more profit. And so then you compete with others, and so then you win because yours is more efficient and everybody benefits. At least that's the theory, right? Isn't that the theory? So there's a mechanism for scaling up through the market system. At least that's what's claimed. Now, we all know it doesn't quite work like that. I mean, you know, there's people that have an interest in keeping new technologies out of the marketplace. There's things called monopolies. There's a whole variety of different things. But there's a theory there that if I come up with a better way to do it, there's a mechanism through which that better way is going to prevail. And I guess what I want to suggest is that a lot of these questions I'm asking are questions to be asked at the beginning, not at the end. The questions to be asked when you set out and you sort of figure out, well, what are you really trying to do?